Hi guys, I'm Rob, this is Pixel Lab, where the Nintendo collecting journey continues. So I know I promised this being the new camera angle, but recently when I was clearing out my SD card to make more room, I did come across a video that I filmed quite a while ago, and it was basically doing a shell swap for this Game Boy Advance that came in that little mystery bag a few videos ago. It was really disgusting and really grubby, which I didn't want to clean up and restore as things were cracked and bits and pieces were missing. So I did decide to do a shell swap on it. So I did film that video, and so basically here it is, but it is the old top-down style. But if you do like it and you do enjoy it, please consider subscribing and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And so without any further ado, here it is. In this week's video, I'll be showing you how to do a shell swap for this Nintendo Game Boy Advance. I picked this up a few weeks ago and I decided I didn't want to clean this up. It's just too dirty and too disgusting. Plus I hate the color, as mentioned in the previous video. So what I decided to do was get a new shell for it, which I ordered on eBay for $19, which arrived earlier this week. And I decided on this awesome orange color. It's coming up to Halloween, so I decided I'd get a nice pumpkin orange Game Boy shell. So basically all I'm going to do is just show you how to do a quick shell swap. So the Game Boys and the Game Boy Advances were really easy to do shell swaps on, so I don't think I'll have any problems as far as that goes. I'm planning to keep all the original screws if I can and all the original buttons. I never like using the third-party kind of buttons and things that come with it. They just don't feel the same, or you know, the clearances and tolerances aren't the same, so they're always wobbly and things like that. So definitely won't be keeping those. I will definitely be cleaning up these buttons as best as I can, especially the shoulder buttons. Not sure about these bumpers. They do have quite a few bumps and nicks in them if it focuses, so I might not keep those, but definitely the screws and buttons I'll definitely clean up and keep because I like reusing those. So without further ado, let's get this one off, clean up the buttons and put this pumpkin looking one on. It's gonna look shmick. Let's get cracking. So first of all, we need a tri-tip screwdriver, which we have in my little nifty kit. Pop that out and we'll find the right one, which is this one, negative, which is this one. Now we just unscrew all the screws. And ideally, if the screws aren't corroded, I will definitely reuse. And they look pretty good, so I will definitely keep those. They are slightly dirty and dusty, but I'm sure I can clean these up. Screen as well, plastic. I'm assuming that's because the original one's plastic, but I've seen the little glass ones. I like the glass ones more, to be quite honest, because they don't scratch as easily. So I'm not sure whether I'll use this plastic one or order a glass one as a replacement, but we'll see once we get it all put together. And obviously they can also be replaced individually as well, so even if I do decide to change my mind down the track, I can always take this one off and put a glass one on. So yeah, that's another thing I like to do as well. If I do pick up a Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance or any other Game Boys really that have scratched screens, I only like to replace the screens, or screen lenses should I say, as they tend to get scratched the most. Screens don't obviously get scratched because they are protected, but yeah, the lenses always get scratched, so every now and then I do like to change the lenses. Because as mentioned previously in numerous videos, I do love to keep these things as original as possible. And I never actually bin all the shells after, even if I take them off and stuff. I always keep those because you never know when they can come in handy. Especially things like these stickers as well with the original serial numbers. I like to actually take these off with a heat gun and put them on, you know, even replacement things like that. Because these actually come with serial numbers and things like that, but they are just reproductions, so they're not actually original. So I'll see how that goes as well. But yeah, there's a couple screws, nothing too hard. I think that's all of them. That one doesn't want to pop out. And then just should technically crack open, but sticky taped. Bugger. Let's just get something sharp. Just a little sharp screwdriver, and we'll just put that aside and we'll just run over the seam. And hopefully now it should come undone. Oh, silly me, missed a screw. And there's a tiny little Phillips head screw just right there. No idea why all the other ones are tri-tip. Well, that one being a Phillips head. Typical Nintendo. Always have to do something different. So we'll just undo him real quick, and then that shell should separate quite nicely. This one seems to be a little bit stuck. Junk and gunk that's accumulated down in there. And there he goes. And now, yay, there it is. There's the top half. Put that aside. The buttons, shoulder buttons. Focus. Quite dirty as well, but we'll definitely give these a good cleaning. Look at that. Gorgeous. Dare you to lick it. Yeah, that's disgusting. So we'll keep that. And then the bumpers come out as well. They're pretty gross. So I'll try to clean these up. I might even try to potentially sand them down to see what happens. But I think these are way too far gone. So I might actually try to compare the quality between the two. Don't think they feel too much different. So I might actually use these bumpers, the new ones, rather than these, but we'll see. Definitely see how we go as we go along. And then obviously as you go further down, we have a bit of a ribbon cable which connects the screen, so you can just undo that, which is easy. There's two little tags there that you can lift up very gently. A lot of people say not to use metal screwdrivers, things like that on ribbon cables, so we'll just use a screwdriver. There we go. Just got to be very careful with it. Don't force it, don't do things stupid, and then yeah, you shouldn't have any issues as far as potentially breaking it. And next up we just have three other Phillips head screws, one there, and one there, which we can quickly undo. And then that whole motherboard, hopefully, yep, lifts up. Beautiful. Quite clean motherboard. Speaker's a little bit dirty. The rubbers for the buttons are quite dirty as well. So we'll definitely give these a clean up. We'll definitely give the motherboard a clean up as well, as far as the everything, as far as the speaker and things like that, and also the connectors. Even though it does read cartridges quite well, we'll still give that a clean. We'll give the headphone jack a clean, as well as the volume dial and the on and off switch with a bit of isopropyl alcohol as well. Always a good idea once you have it down to this stage to give it a good clean. And next up we'll just have the buttons, which we definitely do want to keep. Don't want to damage those. And then the screen itself, very easy to take out. You just got to be very careful. Just hold it in both hands and then just twist it gently. Then you'll hear it crack. That's just like so. And just keep twisting. That's literally just the glue giving way. Then once you got it there, you might be able to get your thumb under there. If not, you might have to pry something in there, but it should be alright. Right, just get it there and then gently peel. You don't want to crack this. I'm actually not too sure if you can buy replacement. I'm pretty sure you can buy replacement screens for these, but it's better to have the original one on than a cheap reproduction. This one's sort of coming off without that rubber, which we actually want to ideally take off with that rubber. Because I'm not sure if the... Let's have a look if that one... No, that one doesn't have one, so we definitely want that rubber as well. We want it on the screen rather than on the shell. And then just peel that away. So there's that. And then what we do is just gently reattach that membrane back on without ideally touching that LCD screen, because it's a pain in the butt to clean the fingerprints off of them, and the last thing you want to do is assemble your Game Boy and then look at the screen and see a big fat thumbprint on there. So yeah, that's pretty much the disassembly of it. Next up, I'll just go clean up the buttons. Once that's done, I'll come back and put the new shell on. So I'll see you in a couple minutes. So I've cleaned up all the buttons. They've come out quite good. Nice and grey, no longer dirty. No more junk in between the crevices and things like that. They're no longer yellowed as well. If it will focus, there we go. So I'm quite happy with those. Definitely be reusing all of these. The bumpers didn't come out very well. They're still very scratched and dented, things like that. So I'll definitely be using the new bumpers. But the buttons are definitely good to go. So I'll put these quickly aside and then clean up the motherboard, speaker, things like that. To do that, I just use isopropyl alcohol in a little capful and a little makeup brush. These are quite soft as well, so you won't damage anything. There's many a video already up on my YouTube channel where I clean all these and restore all these consoles and things like that. So if you want a more in-depth kind of video, you can check those out. But I just go over it very liberally. And all the little connecting ports, and especially in the connectors of the cartridge reader. There's also a little bit of flux left over after the Game Boy's been manufactured, so I like to also get rid of that. Get the motherboard looking nice and shiny and white. And like I said, also as far as the little speaker dial goes and the headphone jack, just liberally pour alcohol down there. The alcohol evaporates really quickly, so you don't have any problems later on when you assemble it with anything short-circuiting. And just go back and forth on the dial just to get it up down there. Just gets rid of any other corrosion, dust, things like that, and won't have any issues as far as, you know, the volume not working or stuff like that, or your headphones not connecting. And finally, we'll just give the on-off switch the same treatment. Get them to focus a little bit, and then just go back and forth a few times. Just let that alcohol seep in there into all the connectors. Then that should turn on and off beautifully afterwards. So as far as that goes, that's pretty much it. The motherboard itself wasn't too dusty nor too dirty. And then finally just give those button connectors a good clean as well, and the shoulder buttons, and then just click those. Probably the worst thing, the speaker. So we'll just go over him a few more times. You can actually see that dirt sort of coming off of it. And the battery terminal there. Awesome, so that's that. We'll let that dry for a few minutes and then I'll start reassembly. Cool as cucumbers. It's all dry and ready for reassembly. Pretty simple. Basically the reverse of what we did before. First things first is to put your screen back in. Make sure it's clean and not dusty. Give him a little bit of a wipe with a microfiber cloth. And then just slot him back down. And hopefully it fits. This one fits beautifully. Tolerances on this one are very good. I'm happy with that. Next thing basically is slot all your buttons back in. You've got A, B. These are predetermined as far as where they should slot in, so you won't have any issues as far as mixing them up. They'll only go in one way. Have these little notches. Have these little notches on the sides. Here, here. So they'll only go into the corresponding hole. Like so. Next up the D-pad in there, and finally just the rubbers, and also they have little grooves, or they also have little holes here and there which just slide into corresponding posts like so. And then we're ready to insert the motherboard back in. Just make sure your speaker lines up with a speaker hole, like so. Then just give it a bit of a wiggle, get that ribbon cable out of the way so we don't damage it. There it goes, lined up beautifully. Now it's just time to screw them back in. If you struggle with remembering where screws and things like that go, it's always wise to take a picture with your phone so you don't mix up screws. Posts on these are very, very tight, so we'll have to work them in slowly. Like I said, it's always a pain in the butt using third-party things like that because the tolerances are never the same. So it's almost like you have to pre-drill your bloody posts to get a screw down there. Bit of force, we can definitely get them down to where they need to be. Beautiful, no wobble. Got them all the way down, so I'm happy with that. Next up is just put your shoulder buttons back in. They just click into there, like so. Make sure that's lined up. Make sure that's sitting in there nicely. Now we'll just get the new bumpers. One's different than the other. One's got a little notch there, which now I can't remember which one is which. Should be that one, and then that notch goes to this bumper, like so, and then this one goes in like so. And finally is just your on and off switch. Should pop in just like so, and just make sure that little tag goes in between that switch, like so. Beautiful. And finally, just reconnect your ribbon cable very carefully. Make sure it's all the way down in there, and then just do up your little tags all the way down. If you want, you can always just double check. If memory serves me right, that is pretty much everything that we need to put on the inside. And finally is just the top part, like so. Let's have a look. That L trigger seems a little bit funny to me, so I'll just double check, see what's going on with that one. Might just be that spring bent a little bit out of position. Just bend them back into place. Come on. Go back in there. Like so. Now let's give it another test. Much better. Just, that one's got a bit of a click. That one doesn't have a click. Let me see what's going on. So it's not actually the shoulder buttons itself, it's actually those little connectors. That one has a bit of a click. Or this one doesn't. You push it really hard and sort of hear it. That's right, as long as it plays, that's all good. I'm happy with that. I suppose, you know, it being played for so many years, some things are going to wear out. The screw back in is just that black one, as that's a Phillips head. I'm actually really beginning to like this orange colour. I'm pretty sure Gameboy Advance came in an orange colour like this. Sometimes, you know, the reproduction shows they make them all kind of weird funky colours that weren't actually original to the Game Boys, but pretty sure this one was an original one, or original colour. And then that final tighten down, make sure everything's tight, secured. Now they're both sort of clicking, so that's good. Awesome, happy with that. Finally, we'll give the screen a final wipe down. Make sure there's no fingerprints on it. Any dust. And then we'll apply the screen lens. Like I said, if I don't like it or it gets scratched after a while, I might just replace this one with a glass one. Get that out the way. This is very important. Don't want to get this crooked. Beautiful. Like a glove. And the final bit. Actually, wait. Chuck some batteries in there first. Pop the back on. And the most satisfying part is just peeling that plastic off. Oh yeah, love it. So there it is. Shell swap for a Nintendo Game Boy Advance. Now let's just chuck a game in there and see if it works. Good old Mario. Super Circuit, never fails. Clicks in nicely. And moment of truth. Excellent. Screen's working, everything's connected, speaker's not damaged. Oh, so much better when the lens isn't scratched to buggery. You can actually see what's going on. Buttons work. Everything works. Let's check volume. Switch. Yep. Excellent. Let's see if those shoulder buttons work. We'll just have to drift. Yep, sure do. Left one also works. Excellent. Cool, we'll leave it at that. So here it is. I'm very happy with it. I am loving that pumpkin colour. It looks a lot better than that white transparent colour. I think they call it Arctic White. I was never a huge fan of that colour, so that's why I decided to swap the shell, even though I tend to keep my consoles, well, try to keep my consoles as original as possible. But these are relatively common, and I'm sure I'll find better condition original ones to add to the collection. So this will conclude this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing. And next week is a new week for game hunting. So I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.